Well, I'm sorry to say that letter D is pathetically easy. So just take a moment and look at it. So you have 7b squared c to the fifth all to the 4 ninths. Or, excuse me, multiplied by you have 7b squared c to the fifth all to the 5 ninths. So what you can do you notice how the things in the parentheses are identical? Do you see that? So that means that you can treat them just like you would a variable. I know it's crazy, but it's true. I mean, don't make your life more difficult. When they're identical like this, you can just use this property that says, hey, if they're identical, you can just add the powers. It's just really complicated. It's not x, it's all the stuff in the parentheses. This whole thing and this whole thing are identical. So what you can do is you can say, okay, I want that, but I want it to the 4 ninths plus 5 ninths. I'm going to add them, see? And that's 7b squared c to the fifth to the, and then now what do? You add them. 9 over 9, which we all know is 1, right? And anything to the 1 is just itself. So here, I'll show you. It's to the 1, which we don't ever write because we're lazy, you guessed it. So we write 7b squared c to the fifth. Done. It was actually a very simple problem. It just didn't look like it. Crazy, isn't it? All right, so there's that one. Now let's look at E. Now, as to quote Han Solo, here's where the fun begins. So we did all the easy ones. Now let's start dealing with some messy things. So we have 2b cubed squared. Then we have multiplied by 4b squared c to the 6. And we're going to raise it all to the 1/4 power. Okay? And again, I'm retyping it because I want you to see it can be 1/4 out in front like that. Now, remember order of operations. You can't deal with the exponent until you've dealt with this interior part here. This is parentheses as far as you're concerned. So you need to simplify what's going on inside that bracket. Okay, so let's do it a little bit over here. This is equal to, now the bracket part and the 1/4 part isn't going to change, so I'm just going to leave that for right now. But I'm going to deal with the inner portion. So I have 2b to the third to the 2. What I have to do is I have to distribute that. It's 2 to the 2, then b to the third, oopsie, b to the third to the 2. You're distributing. Both things have to be raised to that 2 power. And then that's times 4b squared c to the 6. Okay? Now I didn't need that extra set of parentheses because there was nothing there. There was no outer power right there with that parentheses. There's a bracket power, but that's not the same thing. So that parentheses is really just indicating timesing to us. So I'm just going to put the dot in instead. Now, equals bracket and put the power in because I'm not dealing with that yet. I'm going to simplify what's going on in here. That's 4b to the 6 times 4b squared c to the 6. All right. So what does that mean? Well, I can kind of clean this up a little bit. 4 times 4 is 16 the last time I looked, right? 4 times 4 is 16. And then the b's. It's b to the, now what you can do is you can add these. It's 6 plus 2. And then c to the 6 just sits there. You haven't done anything with it. All right. And then let's see, we got 16, b to the 8, c to the 6, all raised to the 1/4 power. Right, because 6 plus 2 made 8. All right, now I got to distribute that 1/4 power and simplify. So this is 16 to the 1/4. Then it's b to the 8 to the 1/4. And then c to the 6 to the 1/4. I'm going to simplify that. Actually, I'm going to put this one here just because to save myself some room. All right, now this is equal to, well, 16 to the 1/4 is 2. Everybody should kind of know that because 2 to the 4th is 16, but in case you don't, you can use your calculator. 16 caret parentheses, if you're on the old type of calculator, 1/4. Okay. Now the B is actually the easy part. Remember I'll flip back here. The variables use those properties. That's kind of the simple stuff. And the coefficients use those definitions. That's the harder part. So we just did the harder part by figuring out that that was 2 for our problem, right? So by figuring out, oopsie, right there, that this part right here, that number part is 2, that's using that definition of what a fraction power is. Now the B here, all we're going to do is use property number 5. B to the, what have we got? B to the 8 to the 4th. 8 is P, Q is 1/4, you multiply them. So you're going to go B to the 8 times a 4th. Okay, and then C to the 6 times a 4th. Oopsie. 6 times 1/4. That gives you 2B to the 2, C to the, okay, 6 over 4 is 3/2, right? Here, hold on. I'll write it out. So it's really 2B to the 8 over 4, right? And then 6 over 4. And then I'm reducing those both, 6 over 4. Because remember, when you multiply a whole number, it's really a whole number over 1. We don't bother usually writing it that way, but that's what it is. So it's really 8 over 4 and 6 over 4. And 8 over 4 reduces to 2, and 6 over 4 reduces to 3/2. And there's your final result. Now, no step in that was super difficult. It's not like these are the hardest thing ever. It's just that they're tedious, right? You can't lose track of what you're doing and get all lost, right? Looks like I had vertical room there. Okay, so let's reiterate. I wrote it out again, no problem. Then I distributed my 2 right there. So I took 2 to the 2, B to the 3rd to the 2. Then I figured out that that was 4B to the 6. Then I combined that together. 4 times 4 made 16. 6 and 2 makes 8. That gets you, oopsie, right down here. 6 and 2 make 8. And then C to the 6 just sat there. Then I distribute my 1/4 power, just like I did that 2 power earlier. Now I do it again, but for the bracket, so the 1/4. 16 to the 4th, B to the 8th to 1/4, C to the 6th to the 1/4. Then I have to simplify those down, and I get my final result. All right, let's do the next one. 81 to the, all right, let me type that up. Hold on one sec. All right. So, interesting why, I'm not entirely certain why there are parentheses down that denominator. You know what, I just looked it up and it's a typo. So let's fix it right now. So it should be this, which is actually a better problem for us because it's more difficult, and that's going to be better. Okay, so sorry, fix that. C to the 7th should be in that parentheses, and you should have a 1/3 outside. Okay, so, well, we're going to have to distribute. I mean, we don't have any options. You got to distribute each one of them separately. So you got to go 81 to the 3/4. Then B to the 8, it's going to be times 3/4, right? Hopefully you're getting used to that. Right? And then because it's 8 times, here, let me put it this way. It's B to the 8th to the 3/4. There, I'll take that intermediate step for you. Okay. And again, I often don't show every single one of these steps. I just, you just want to show enough that you can get by. C to the 4th to the 3/4, like that. Oops, there's 64 to the 1/3, and then the B doesn't really need anything to it because it's just B to the 1, so it's just a third. And then C to the 7th to the 1/3. What a mess. All right, we got to clean some of this up. This is a disaster. Okay, let's do the numbers part. So 81 to the 3/4, that's going to be 81 to the 1/4 to the 3, like that. And then the denominator, same token, it'll be 64, 64 to the 1/3. We just know what that number is. That's 4. And again, I can just find that with my calculator. Honestly, you can find 81, hold on, 81 to the 3/4. And again, you might need to use parentheses to get the same number as me. It's 27. And then 64 to the 1/3, probably need parentheses around that power, unlike me, it's 4. So I just have those two numbers. Let's just put them in. It's more trouble than it's worth to write all this out. So 27 over 4, right? You're really doing 81 to the 1/4, which is 3 to the 3rd, which is 3 to the 3rd is 27. And then 64 to the 1/3 is 4. Everybody knows that. Okay, so then it's b to the 8 times 3/4. Well, here, let me write it. It's 8 times 3/4. Because, and really that's 8 over 1. We don't usually write it like that, but that's what it is. And then c to the, it's 4 over 1 times, oopsie, there you go, times 3 over 4, which is going to be pretty simple for the c part there. B to the 1/3, not hard. And then c to the 7 over 1 times 1/3. What a mess. All right. Well, let's simplify it down. This is 27. Now the b isn't too bad. 4 goes into 8 2 times, right? Okay, so we're going to put a 2 there. Let me cross this one off. And that 2 isn't there. It's over on the side. Sorry, it's over here. Okay, so 2 times 3 makes 6. So it's b to the 6. Now over on the 4s, those are gone because 4 divided by 4 is 1. So that just makes c to the 3rd. Okay, then you've got a 4 on the denominator, a b to the 3rd on the denominator, which isn't too bad, and a c to the, now nothing cancels there, so you just write 7 over 3. Nothing divides away, if you will. 3 doesn't divide into 7. Okay, cool. Well, now the fraction part we can't really do anything about. It's just going to be 27 over 4. You know, 4 does not go into 27. But the b's and the c's are different because the b's and the c's, whoops, sorry, that's my YouTube that I'm uploading on. The b's and the c's have these properties right here. Now property number 2, you can subtract. So I can say, okay, look, I want b to the 6 take away 1/3, and then c to the 3 take away 7/3. Now if you remember you're adding and subtracting of fractions, that's you would change it so that it's b to the, here, let me put it this way, you would times this by, over here, you times it by 3 over 3 so that you could get the same denominator. And you do the same thing over on this one because you want them both to have the 3 for the denominator. So that would make b to the 18/3 take away 1/3. And then c to the, oopsie, c to the, let's see, 9/3 take away 7/3. So you're making them so they have the same denominator, which would be 27 over 4. That just part just sits there. B to the 17/3, because 18 take away 1 is 17. C to the 2/3. And you're done. Now remember, you could have used the, you don't have to do this all by hand. You can just use the calculator to help you do 6 take away 1/3 math 1 enter 17/3. Similarly, 3 take away 7/3, so I typed that in, math 1 enter 2/3. Done. Calculator can help you. You don't have to do all that by hand. We're done. Oops, with that problem. There it is. It's ugly, but that's what it is.